Happy Friday, everybody. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web, coming to you from the front lines in Brooklyn, New York. Uh, New York City has now been dubbed the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak. I'm sitting in my restaurant, Della, in Brooklyn, New York. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox. We are trying to get everything synced up through Zoom, the new communication tool of the universe. So bear with us as we try to get everything put together here. Waiting for my guest to join via satellite, and there he is. There he goes. He was there. He was there for a minute. We'll bring him back in just a minute. My guest today.
I'm here.
He's here. I can see you. I can hear you. This is so strange.
Awesome.
So this is my guest, Aaron Felder. He used to live across the street from me here in the Windsor Terrace section of Brooklyn. He and I trained jiu-jitsu together for quite a while as well. He relocated to Yonkers briefly, and he is now in Philadelphia and is the current CEO of the Food Trust, which has a big role these days. There's a lot happening there. Say hi, Aaron. What's going on?
Hey, there's something I want to say to you that I haven't said to anybody in weeks. You ready?
I'm ready.
Us.
We're good. Aaron just hijacked the message of the week. That's great, because I didn't have one. Os. So os is a Japanese term. It means a number of things, depending on the context of who you're speaking to and the situation.
I just always said it to you whenever you tapped me out, like every 30 seconds.
Every time he got choked, he was like, os. But one of the early underlying meanings that I discovered of it that really stuck with me was it means to push and to preserve. And I think that's a really valuable bit of information right now, because we're under some severe pressure. Everybody, the world, the country, regionally, industry-wise, and that's all we really have right now, right? Is perseverance. It also means hi. It also means thank you. It also means I understand. It also means that was a good submission.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying Smurf, but in jiu-jitsu.
Smurf. Maybe. So that's it. Push and preserve. That's the message of the week. Os in Japanese.
That's the message of the week, I think, for everybody. And it's been my mantra in work and in my personal life has just been, you can't do anything better than your best, right? And so That's all we're all trying to do.
Right.
And you and I were talking earlier about how I have about 5 minutes in the morning every day when I wake up where I've forgotten that all this is happening, and it just kind of seems like a nightmare, but then the panic slowly creeps in on me.
Yeah.
And then the day happens.
And for me, it's often been the opposite, where I wake up in a panic and then I start to move around and open things and do things. And then I'm like, okay, the world is not over yet. We're still here. So it hits everybody in a different way. And the more signs of life I get, the better I feel. Like just getting outside and walking, and like getting fresh air, or maybe a little workout. And certainly through the course of the day, as I get busy, my businesses are fortunately still able to operate. But it's a double-edged sword, because it puts me in contact with people, which you're in a way not supposed to do. Yeah. We're doing everybody's doing their best to take the necessary precautions to stay, clean and hygienic. And I was telling you earlier, like in the restaurant industry, it's always been a thing. Like, you always wash your hands like 50 times a shift. You just do it. Like, do it publicly. All the sinks are, there's always visible sinks, so customers can see you washing your hands. That's a really big deal. But it's just for cleanliness. And it also just like, never ever touch your face or your hair while you're working. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a bartender or a server, a cook, a dishwasher, like you just never do that. So hopefully I've been trained enough in this after over 25 years in the restaurant industry that it's habit, and I'm keeping myself safe. But like I said, we're doing our best trying to take all the necessary precautions to stay safe, but still get people some food and some wine. The food is necessary. The wine, people, you know.
The wine is necessary.
So I knew you were going to say that.
You wouldn't still be open. So speaking of food.
Yes. Speak of food.
Yeah. So the food trust, where I'm actually interim CEO, but I've, in case any board members are listening, I've thrown my hat in the ring to become permanent. The food trust is both a local organization in Philadelphia, but also nationally. And I'm not going to, rattle off the whole mission statement, but basically it exists so that people don't have to make a choice between having enough food and having nutritious food.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so we closed our office about 2 weeks ago, and there's since been a confirmed case of the virus in our building. So, I'm sure that's probably the case in every big office building in every city.
And the office is in Philly, is that correct?
The main office, the administrative office, is in Center City of Philadelphia, but programming is all over the country.
Right.
We have offices in Pittsburgh and Cleveland, California, and then technical assistance projects going on all over the country. So it's both a small organization and a huge organization.
Right.
Exists mainly to provide access to good food in food deserts. So we have a lot of partnerships, hundreds and hundreds of them, with entire public school districts like Philadelphia and Camden, New Jersey, where we go in and do education and demonstrations, and then partnerships with bodegas in cities all over the country, where we help them get financing for refrigeration equipment, help them learn how to purchase and stock perishable foods, so that people aren't just, so that people who do their shopping in places like that aren't just buying canned stuff.
Right.
And then we used to do cooking demonstrations and hand out samples, but as this whole thing started to creep up on us, that was one of the first things to go, both for hygiene and because everybody was running in looking for hand sanitizer and paper towels. Yeah.
And toilet paper.
And toilet paper.
What Aaron didn't mention was that starting next month, his company's going to change the name to the Toilet Paper Trust, because it has become more of a commodity than
food, right?
Than food, and we can't be going out with nasty asses.
I can't. Maybe you can, but
so right now, that especially the partnerships with the bodegas and the local corner stores seems like it would be super instrumental, because in a lot of, especially in parts of Brooklyn and Queens and Manhattan, that's often some people's closest and most convenient, reliable source of food. And if they have, what we really need right now is nutritious food, and not to eat a bunch of junk and super processed food. We need our immune systems high. A lot of that comes through diet and accessibility to food. So your role is pretty big right now.
Yeah, exactly. But I think early last week I made the decision to pull all of our community staff out, so they're not working in the corner stores anymore, but we're keeping those relationships going and doing what we can to keep the supply chain going. Because you're absolutely right. Small not-for-profits can be swept by the wayside in times of crisis, but I really look at the Food Trust and other organizations like it as being public health organizations and part of the safety net. And we operate a whole network of farmers markets across Philadelphia, and 3 of them are actually year-round, and they have stayed open because we accept SNAP benefits, formerly food stamps. And so that's where a lot of lower income families are going to get their nutritious food. It's a really important resource for the communities. So right now, those are our only programs that are functioning the same way they did pre-virus. And they're doing boom business because I think partly because of the stockpiling mentality, but also because of health consciousness that's kind of working into the country's national consciousness.
Yeah, I would say, I'm the chairman of the board for the Windsor Terrace Food Co-op.
Right.
in Brooklyn, and it's been a similar experience there where we've had our best, 3 weeks ever consecutively. And part of it is definitely in the mission there is very similar. Trying to get the most nutritious, personally sourced food for the community. And it is member owned and operated, meaning you have to be a member to join and you have to volunteer some service, but that reduces the cost of the goods. And again, where there's a small team of people hand selecting what's coming in, and we're trying to pick, the most nutritional and freshest things for our membership. But we also, what is it here? Is it WIC? Or am I getting that wrong? Is that upstate?
WIC is women, infants, and children. That's a little bit different.
What's the, I forget the name of this acronym for the...
food stamps?
Yeah, here. And what is
SNAP.
It? It's SNAP here too.
SNAP nationwide.
Your audio is breaking up just a little bit on my end.
I'm sorry, I have my finger over the mic.
There's something else. We have a terminal where they come in with a card and they pay with that. I forgot what it's called. Anyways,
your programs vary state by state, and also it's I've only been in this job for 2 months now, so it's been a trial by fire. Yeah,
and then so in that situation, it's very similar where we see people a lot of people are buying in large quantities because they're concerned. But another interesting shift that's happened here is that people are here in the neighborhood more, and they're buying everything completely locally now. So all the local businesses that are still open are seeing an increase because, especially as New Yorkers, we're very transient, running all over the place, right? We're always, out and about and getting stuff from a bunch of different places. Now everybody's like in one spot. We've seen, membership, participation go up, and certainly spending. And in our situation, we allow other food co-op members. If you're a member of another food co-op here in New York City, you can shop there as well. So Park Slope food co-op members that live right here, they don't want to go, deal with all that commuting and everything. They're shopping there, and it's been good. And again, we operate as a nonprofit. The grocery stores can't legally be nonprofit organizations in the United States. We get this, I forget the name of the filing. We get this specific filing that allows us to operate kind of as a yeah, exactly. But outside of our internal culture and perception, we're just seen as another store, but the threat, the blade is always at the throat, as you said, for nonprofits in times like this, small nonprofits to just go whoop and just get swept aside.
Yeah, but what's been interesting to me this time, because I've only ever worked in not-for-profits for 20 plus years. And it's always lean. The margins are always razor thin, right? And when you're grant funded, the way that the Food Trust is primarily, you're very focused on your deliverables. So you write a grant, you say what you're going to do, and you get the money to do what you're going to do, and that's it. So there's no contribution to very little contribution to margin from those kind of things. And we've got 30 plus funders. We're living off of a lot of very small grants and then one large federal grant. And so we've been working with our funders to help them understand that we're not really able to meet our deliverables as stated in our grants, because most of them are pushing into all those hundreds of schools and bodegas and, operating a big network of farmers markets and doing all this technical assistance around supermarket development. All of that has obviously ground to a halt because all those places are closed. But very happily, the philanthropic community is responding very flexibly and very, with a lot of understanding. And I think it's because we've positioned ourselves effectively as part of the public health system. Mm-hmm. And that's what everybody is interested in investing in now. So for us, now is a time to really think strategically and maybe turn this into some sort of opportunity, kinds of business
for everyone. We're going to take a short break, Aaron. Just hang tight. We'll be back in a few, everybody. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web.